In 1960, the first electronic watch, which would become the Accutron Tuning Fork Watch, is revolutionary. It changes the dynamic of how we would measure time. So you go from a clock, and then the clock got smaller and smaller and then ended up on our wrist, but the main mechanics of that device of how we measure time stayed the same. Even to this day, that particular movement has a very important place in watchmaking history. And why it was so important was it overnight becomes the most accurate watch ever made. I'm Michael Benavente. I'm the managing director of Bulova and Accutron. So the innovation of the tuning fork movement, it started mid-50s, and it was really accelerated by the need for technology, especially in space. So there was a lot of defense contracting and space work being done with NASA, and that was really the need for the world's most accurate watch, if you will. That was kind of like the project. How do we get this thing going? Omar Bradley, who was the last five-star general in the US military, migrated from that job to retiring and then becoming the chairman of the board of Bulova Watch Company. And so in 1960, October 25th, he introduced the Accutron Watch Company. So he literally had a press conference and said, we are launching this company and we're going to have like really cool things. And the really cool thing was the first electronic watch. We definitely knew that if we were going to come back with this movement, we had to do the first one as the Spaceview. The original Spaceview in 1960 was used as a training watch. An electronic watch didn't exist in 1960, so one of the challenges was you have to train salespeople in stores, you have to train consumers on how this movement works and what's so special about it. So they devised a clear watch, where you could see inside the watch, and it was easily, the back was closed on the original, but the front was open so that you could see what was happening, and we could explain, salespeople could go around explaining how the movement worked. Well, we didn't sell that watch. That was just for training. And a lot of the jewelers at that time said, that's a cool watch. You guys should just sell that watch. And that's how the original Spaceview became to be. It was not ever meant to be manufactured. Most of the watches sold in Accutron were closed dials watches, but this became kind of a cult favorite. And so we knew that, to remake this movement, we were definitely doing the Spaceview first. It was something that the company wanted to do, but very difficult, to recreate a technology from 1960. And so in earnest, we launched 1,000 pieces for the 50th anniversary of the tuning fork watch. But it was a very painful process for them they literally handmade these 1,000 pieces. And it wasn't commercially viable to be able to do that on an ongoing basis. I think the engineers, once they were done with the 1,000 pieces, they were very excited that they were no longer having to do this. I heard from the people in Tokyo that people retired after that project because it was so stressful. So we knew that, we couldn't go that route. So we had to reimagine, how we could bring this movement back. Watch enthusiasts can certainly expect the humming F-sharp. They can certainly expect the sweeping second hand. And they can expect, a much more vibrant, better detailed finished timepiece, I would say, than the original. If you look at the original versus what we're introducing now, I would say it was a little cruder, not as, well finished, not as detail driven. The back of the watch is now a skeletonized back. We have the index wheel, which was also key in the original version. So we modernized that index wheel. On the steel version, they're all 904 steel. So we're using the highest grade steel that's very recognizable, especially amongst the collector community. Of course, everything front and back is sapphire crystal. So you're getting the normal, things that people expect. We have a lot of plans also for the electrostatic watch in the next many years. It's also revolutionary. It was also over 10 years in development. And it's been kind of carrying the load the last 6 years, waiting for this guy to show up. And the electrostatic movement is the world's first electrostatic powered watch. For the next 65 years of Accutron, I would love for, this legacy to continue. I would love for us to be able to continue. And that's why the way the watches were constructed, were to be commercially viable for many years to come. Always pushing that technology, always thinking about what's the next technology that we can bring to the table that's different and new. And I'd say that's, with Accutron now having electrostatic, and now back with tuning fork, this is really showing a lot of investment in technology and movement making. You don't see a lot of that in other brands today. We get to introduce a whole new generation, and a generation that really, if we talk about Gen Z, really excited about watches. I've only been in the watch business my entire career, and I've never seen it like I've seen it the last few years. I have 2 kids that are Gen Z myself, so I have like a living laboratory of seeing it myself. And if you think about it, they were born, pretty much had an Apple electronic device on their lap, almost from the beginning. And so they grew up this way. And as they've gotten old enough to say, you know what, I don't want that all the time. And they've been moving away from it and going analog, whenever they can. So if you think about, let's get away from watches for a second, think about vinyl records. Like, there's no reason why vinyl records really should exist today. And so timepieces, especially the ones that we sell in Bulova or Accutron, which are analog devices, we don't sell any connected stuff. That speaks to analog, non-connected, and traditional. And so they're looking for mechanical movements. They want that craftsmanship. They want to have that feeling of old world. With this generation just being so, excited and collecting and wanting to know, way more than, any of the previous generations, I think, ever cared about watches as much as this. So this is an exciting moment for us to do that kind of introduction. It's incredible.